So good afternoon guys, a very good afternoon to all of you. So here today we are going to start our discussion, start our quick revision class for chemical reaction engineering. Okay, so one thing I hope all of you know that chemical reaction engineering, the weightage of this subject in GATE exam is about 10 to 12 marks. Okay, that is one of the most important and scoring subject in GATE exam out of all other technical subjects. Okay, in technical subjects we have 10 technical subjects. The total weightage is about 70 to 72 marks, and out of those CRE has the highest weightage of 10 to 12 marks, and the best part is you can easily secure all 10 to 12 marks there in GATE exam. Okay, so in this quick revision class we are not going to obviously discuss the topics in detail, but we will discuss all the topics and the important topics we will discuss in detail, and the other topics we will have a brief discussion only. Okay, so let's start our discussion about the chemical reaction engineering. So first thing is, what is chemical reaction? So I hope all of you know that chemical reaction we can say as chemical reaction. We can say any process which cause chemical change, that is my chemical reaction. Now the point is, what is the meaning of chemical change? So chemical change we can say is change in molecular structure. Okay, and we can classify the chemical reaction in basic terms. We can classify, although we can classify the reactions in many ways, but the basic classification of chemical reaction is decomposition, combination, and isomerization. So decomposition, as the name suggests, breaking. So what will break? Obviously small molecules will not break as such. We will say that a large molecule will break. So when a large molecule breaks into smaller molecules like AB gives A plus B, that is called decomposition. Okay, there are several decomposition reactions like CaCO3 breaks CaO plus CO2, that is calcium oxide and carbon dioxide. Further, NH4Cl, ammonium chloride, into ammonia and chlorine. H2O2, electrolysis of water, that breaks into hydrogen and oxygen molecules. There are so many other reactions. Combination, as the name suggests, combination means combining. We are adding something. Adding what? Obviously when we are adding something, the result will be a bigger thing. Okay, so we can say when two or more smaller molecules are adding together, combining together to form a big molecule. Okay, for example, A plus B gives AB. Okay, like H2 plus O2 gives H2O, H2 plus I2 gives H2HI, N2 plus 3H2 gives ammonia. So many reactions are there which you can use as an example. Isomerization. Isomerizations are those reactions where the molecular structure is changing. The molecular structure is changing, but there is no decomposition nor there is any combination. Okay. So when a molecular structure of the component changes without being decomposed or combined, that is called isomerization. For example, AAAA, these four A molecules changes into AAA, and this A is like this. Okay. So there are so many examples you can use from organic chemistry. If you know the carbon chain, then from C4 and above, for any chain you can use the examples to represent that, like N-butane into isobutane, N-pentane into isobutane, new pentane, so many examples are there. Okay, so that's not a big deal to know, and I hope all of you are well aware of with this, all this is data. Now, if a reaction is taking place, so there are few terms which we should know. In a chemical reaction, there is a term called reactant. Okay, reactant is that component which we are adding to the system. Okay, which is our input. Okay, so you must have heard that in a chemical reaction, old bonds get breaks and new bonds formed, something like that. So the component in which the bonds are getting break, okay, that is called reactant, and the newly added components, newly formed bonds, okay, which we will get in the output. That is product or products, you can say. Okay, products are basically those things which we are getting in output. We didn't fed them, that was not a part of the input, but because of some process we are getting them in the outlet. Okay, those are the products. Okay, and products further can be classified into several categories. So when we will discuss the multiple reaction system, then we will talk about all of those things. Anyways, so this is reactant, product, and other than this there is a called catalyst and inert. Inert are those components which are part of the input but not participating in the reaction. So whatever in whatever amount we are sending them, we will get them in the same amount in the outlet. Okay, like if I talk about the fuel combustion, okay, for example coal. So coal burn in the presence of air. Air means oxygen and nitrogen is there mainly. Okay, so oxygen participates in the reaction, oxygen will be the reactant, coal will be the reactant, but nitrogen is not participating in the reaction, so that will be the inert. And after the reaction, after the combustion, if carbon molecules will burn into CO or CO2, oxygen molecules will participate in the reaction and the remaining oxygen will be there. That we can say the unreacted oxygen or unconverted oxygen, and the nitrogen in the same amount we will get back. Okay, catalysts are the molecules, are the compounds which are there to help the reaction. Okay, to help the reaction in which way? Mainly to increase the rate of the reaction. Now what is rate of the reaction, that we will discuss. So these are the few terminologies which you should know. Next is reactor. Okay, the vessel, the equipment in which reaction takes place. Okay, without altering, affecting the characteristics of the vessel. Which characteristics? Like physical characteristics, mechanical characteristics, or chemical characteristics. Those are not changing for the vessel. Okay, that is called chemical reactor. Like if I talk about acid, if you put some acid on your hand, obviously reaction will take place, but your hand will get damaged. So this is not a reactor. Okay, but if it is not getting damaged and any reaction is taking place, then your hand can also be called a chemical reactor. Okay, anyways, so these are the few terms. Now let's talk about the chemical reactor. In this subject, the main thing is we are going to design the chemical reactor. Okay, why? So that we can control the reaction, we can complete the reaction up to the desired extent, all that stuff. Everything is taking place inside the reactor. So it is important for us to design those chemical reactors. And for the designing of chemical reactors, we must have the knowledge of three things. Okay, those three things are: for chemical reactor, we must have the knowledge of kinetics, contacting pattern, and performance equation. Okay, kinetics means how fast the process is. Okay, means the reaction is taking place how fast. In which, what operating conditions should I use to operate the reaction in a faster way or to operate the reaction in a slower way. Okay, so that it will be easier for us to control the reaction when we know the reaction is whether fast or slow. Contacting pattern means the flow behavior, you can say the reaction mixture we are sending in the system, in the reactor, what is the flow behavior, flow pattern, whether it is laminar flow, turbulent flow, all that stuff, plus the interaction between the molecules, plus the interaction between the mixture molecules and the reactor walls, all that stuff comes in this category. Since it is not a part of our syllabus, so we will not talk about that in those details. Next is performance equation. Basically, performance equation, if you know, in chemical engineering, not in chemical, but actually in science, there are few terms which should be clear to all of us. And whenever we talk about the equation with some, so that name and that equation have a specific agenda. Okay, like if I talk about equation of state, so in thermodynamics, equation of state means those mathematical relations which are relating the state variables like temperature, pressure and volume. If you say PV equal to nRT, that is ideal gas, equation of state. If you say P plus A upon V square times of V minus B equal to RT, that is van der Waals equation of state. If you say PV equal to Z or Z, that is virial equation of state. So there are so many equation of states. Okay, so any mathematical relation between pressure, volume and temperature is called equation of state. Similarly, talk about the energy equation, Einstein's energy equation. So that is E equal to mc square. That is relating the mass and the energy of the component. Okay. Similarly, if I talk about the performance equation, the performance equation means that mathematical relation which relates the performance variable of the system. Which system? Chemical reactor. Okay, so any mathematical relation which relates the performance variable of the reactor comes in this category, performance equation, also known as this equation. Okay, so performance variables are like concentration, feed concentration, product concentration, conversion, residence time, reaction kinetics, etc. All these things. Okay, so we will discuss all these things one by one. So in case any one of you doesn't know what is reaction mixture, so reaction mixture, we can say, I hope you know mixture. Mixture is combination of two or more components in simple terms, or two initially separated phases, or the combination of same component with different characteristics. Hot water and cold water you are adding together, so that is mixture. The resultant component which you are getting, that is the mixture. Okay, so reaction mixture is the one which formed due to reaction. Like we are sending only reactant in the input, only one component is there, but reaction starts and P will also form. Okay, so combination of two or more component is called reaction mixture, and this mixture is formed due to reaction, so that is reaction mixture. So every reaction mixture may have only four components. Okay, those are reactants, products and catalyst plus inert. Other than these four, if we have any other component, that is called impurity. Okay, that will be called impurity. So these are the basic things, basic terminologies. Let's start our discussion about the kinetics, then performance equation, and then we will see other things. Okay. Kinetics, how fast the process is. So fast the process is, whether the given process is fast or slow, we should know that. And how we can identify that the given process is fast or slow? It's very simple. If we talk about two reactions, one is combustion and one is radioactive decay. So I hope all of you are well aware with these two things. Okay, so if I talk about the combustion, so combustion of any fuel can take place within fraction of seconds. Okay, means there is a fuel, I just ignite it, the combustion is started, and within fraction of seconds the reaction will get complete. Okay, and if I talk about the radioactive decay. So we know that if I have a radioactive component like uranium, thorium, plutonium, etc., and if I start the radioactive reaction, it will keep going on until eternity, till eternity. Okay, so means maybe my 7th, 8th or 9th, or I don't know how many generations will be consumed, but that reaction will not be completed. Okay, I hope you can understand this, the radioactive decay. So what will be that reaction? If someone asks whether it is fast or slow, I will say it is a slow reaction, because it is getting such a huge time to get completed. Okay, so any reaction is fast or slow, any process in entire chemical engineering, any process, maybe distillation, evaporation or anything, any process if that takes place within fraction of seconds, within less time, that will be the fast process. And if it is taking a larger time, a larger duration, then that will be a slow process. Okay, so similarly in reactions are whether fast or slow, we can identify with the help of reaction time, and reaction time can be denoted by the letter small t. And what is reaction time? If someone asks you in interview or anywhere, then you should know reaction time is the time spent by a reaction to get complete. Okay, or the time required to complete the reaction up to desired extent. That is my reaction time. Okay, so with the help of that I can find out whether the reaction is fast or slow. Now, how to calculate this reaction time? That is the main question. Reaction time of any reaction we can calculate with the help of rate of reaction. That we can represent by the letter small r. Okay, so rate of reaction. With the help of rate of reaction we can calculate reaction time. Okay, and what is rate of reaction? So here rate of reaction, if you see in the books, they have classified the rate of reaction in several categories, but as per our syllabus, only three types of rate of reaction are sufficient. Okay, and those are: first, based on unit volume of reaction mixture. Based on unit volume of reaction mixture, and based on that we can classify the rate of reaction as Ri is equal to 1 over V. We can denote the chemical reaction like this: 1 over V dNi over dt. Where V represents the volume of reaction mixture, and Ni represents the number of moles of component I which is participating in the reaction, not for the inerts, which is participating in the reaction. Okay, second is based on unit interfacial area. Now if I am talking about the interfacial area, so interfacial area means the area of the interface, and when we talk about the interface, then you must know that we talk about the interface only when there are two or more phases in contact. Okay, so you can say based on unit interfacial area of two-phase system, three-phase system, or in general you can simply say multi-phase system. Okay, and according to that Ri will be 1 over S dNi over dt. And since obviously these are the two different types of rate of reaction based on two different parameters, so there should be some difference in the notations. So it is Ri double dash. Third one is based on unit mass of based on unit mass of solid catalyst solid catalytic reactions. Similarly, that will be Ri dash. Notations are different, has to be different. 1 over W, dNi over dt. Okay, so these are the three different type of rate of reaction, and you should know that these last two rate of reactions we talk about, we use only for heterogeneous reaction system. And this one is for homogeneous reaction system. First one. Okay, why there is a difference? Because if you know mixtures are the combination of two or more components, and we can classify the mixtures based on phase. Okay, if mixture exists in one phase, that is homogeneous mixture, and if it exists in two phases, that will be or more than two phases, that will be heterogeneous mixtures. Okay, so similarly, if I talk about the reaction mixture, that is the combination of four components at max: reactants, products, catalyst, and inerts. So if that combination, that reaction mixture exists in one phase, that will be called homogeneous reaction system. And if it exists in more than one phase, that will be my heterogeneous reaction system. Okay, for example, ammonia synthesis, N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. Okay, so here look carefully. If you see nitrogen, hydrogen and ammonia, all three components are in gas phase, and we know that all gases are completely miscible, all solids are completely immiscible. Okay, so since all gases are completely miscible, so this mixture of these three components will form one phase mixture. So this will be my homogeneous reaction system. Okay, combination of reactant and products. But if I add a catalyst there, if I use a catalyst, for example iron, and we know that iron we use in a powder form, in a solid form. Okay, so now reactant, product and catalyst, this combination, this mixture will exist in gas plus solid, two phases, because this solid and gas are completely immiscible. Okay, so since the reaction mixture exists in more than one phase, so this will be now heterogeneous reaction system. Okay, so this is something about the rate of reactions. So if I talk about the first case based on unit volume of reaction mixture, so I hope you are well aware that we can measure the volume of single phase only. Okay, if there is a mixture having two or more phases, so we cannot measure the combined volume of that mixture. Okay, because we have to measure the volume of each phase separately. So that's why the first method cannot be used for heterogeneous reaction system. Okay, similarly, if I talk about the based on interfacial area, so interfacial area of the interface, and we know that interface will be formed only and only when there are two or more immiscible phases. Okay, so if there are two or more immiscible phases, only then we can talk interfacial area, and that is used for heterogeneous mixture, because in homogeneous mixture, since it exists in one phase, there will not be any interface. Okay, so we cannot use this method for homogeneous mixture. Similarly, the third method, the mass of the catalyst. Okay, see mass, the solid catalyst. If it exists in independent form, only then I can use its parameter. I can analyze that component if it exists in its independent form. Okay, so in homogeneous mixture, it has to be in one phase. So if I use a catalyst, so if that is a homogeneous reaction system, then the catalyst will also get dissolved in phase. So when catalyst is getting dissolved, like in water, salt in tea, like that. Okay, so it will not have its own identity. It will not be able to exist in its independent form. So I cannot talk about its mass. That's why the third parameter, third method is also used only for heterogeneous mixture. Okay, not for the homogeneous. So first we will talk about the homogeneous reaction system, because in your CRE I told you that total weightage is about 10 to 12 marks. Okay, and the weightage of homogeneous part is about 8 to 10 marks, and for heterogeneous it is only 1 to 2 marks. Okay, so the main focus will be on homogeneous reaction system. So let's start our discussion about the homogeneous reaction system. So from now onwards, whatever we are going to discuss, that will comes under this category, homogeneous reaction system. So based on homogeneous reaction system, the rate of reaction can be defined as Ri is equal to 1 over V dNi over dt, where V is the volume of reaction mixture. Okay, so suppose if I have a reaction, for a reaction A gives B. Okay, so for this reaction A is the reactant, B is the product. Okay, how we know that? Because of the arrow. Because if you see the arrow, the direction is on this side. It means A is getting consumed and B is getting formed. So B is the product, A is the reactant. So according for reactant A, rate of reaction can be defined as Ra is equal to 1 over V dNa over dt as per the definition. Okay, and what is dNa here? So you should know that dNa means change in moles of A, and any change I can write as final value minus. That is final moles of A minus initial moles of A. So we know that since A is the reactant, it is getting consumed, so obviously the final moles of A will be less than the initial moles. So this difference has to be a negative value. Okay, but we also know that any rate in this entire world, if you see the velocity, speed, rate of distillation, rate of mass transfer, rate of heat transfer, or any rate of change of velocity as well, that is acceleration. Every rate in this entire world, in the science, we define in positive units only. Okay, so this rate of reaction has to be positive value as well. So since dNa is negative, so to compensate that negative value, negative sign, negative value of dNa, we must use one negative sign from our side here. Okay, and this minus sign is used to compensate the negative value of dNa. Now negative will become positive, so this is the rate of reaction for reactant A. And since A is getting disappeared, so this side also we will use one minus. And this minus is different, because this minus is just a notation. And this minus is the mathematical sign. Okay, so you know that this minus is a notation. So this is, if minus Ra is there, it means rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of A. If I write minus Rx, it means rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of X. Okay, next is for product B. Because in CRE the important thing is to write down the rate of reaction, rate equations. That's it. If you are able to write down the rate equations properly, you can solve any problem of CRE. Okay, because after that we have only the mathematical part, and which is easy. Okay, so for product B, according to the definition, it has to be RB is equal to 1 over V dNb over dt. dNb means final moles of B minus initial moles of B, and we know that B is the product, it is getting formed, so the amount of B will keep on increasing along the process. So this value has to be positive, so it will remain as it is. So either you can write Rb or you can write plus Rb, doesn't matter. And that means rate of reaction in terms of formation of B. Similarly, if you see somewhere Rq, that means rate of reaction in terms of formation of Q. Okay, so this is the meaning of minus, plus and all that stuff. And that's how we represent the rate of reaction. Okay, so this should be clear to all of you. Now next, here, next part is relative rates of reaction, also known as composite rates of reaction. So suppose we have a reaction AA plus BB gives CC plus DD. Okay, so for this chemical reaction, if you do the mole balance, okay, I'm not doing that derivation and everything, that for that you can watch the classes. Okay, I'm just writing directly. For the mole balance, if you do, you will get the equations. Like if I talk about B, A and B are the reactants, obviously. Okay, so you can write, okay, let me represent for B. Let's say moles of B reacted. So I can also write it as moles of B reacted divided by moles of A reacted, multiply by moles of A reacted. Okay, and in every chemical reaction you will see one thing, like if I talk about the ammonia synthesis, N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. So here one thing is obvious, I hope you understand. 1 mole nitrogen will react with 3 moles of hydrogen. 7 moles of nitrogen will react with 21 moles of hydrogen. 10 moles of nitrogen will react with 30 moles of hydrogen, and so on. Okay, so ultimately you can see moles of hydrogen reacted divided by moles of nitrogen. Moles of hydrogen reacted divided by moles of nitrogen reacted at any time will be same as their stoichiometric ratio. Okay, for any chemical reaction. So similarly, moles of B reacted to the moles of A reacted has to be same as their stoichiometric ratio. So I can write it as B upon A into moles of A reacted. And this is moles of B reacted. Similarly, you can write for components C and D as well. Like you can say, since C and D are the product, so we will say moles of C formed is equal to C upon A times of moles of A reacted and moles of D formed is equal to D by A times of moles of A reacted. All these are fixed things. Okay, as you can see, 1 mole nitrogen gives 2 mole ammonia, 3 mole nitrogen gives 6 mole ammonia, 7 mole nitrogen gives 14 mole ammonia. So the ratio of ammonia formed to the ammonia nitrogen reacted is same as their stoichiometric coefficient. So it will be same for all other reactions as well in general. So here one thing should be clear to all of you. What is moles of B reacted? Moles of B reacted means moles of B reacted. That means moles of B fed in minus moles of B out, or unconverted or unreacted or remaining in a chemical reactor. Okay, whatever chemical reactor we have like this. Okay, suppose if you are say A fed and you are sending 10 moles of A, in outlet we are getting 3 moles of A. So what is this? I will say A remaining, A out, A unreacted, A unconverted, whatever you want to use, you can use that term. So what will be the balance? You will simply say 10 is equal to 3 plus something. What is that something? That has to be 7. It means 7 is what? 7 is the moles of A reacted. 7 moles of A has reacted. Okay, so fed is equal to unreacted plus reacted. That's how we do the mole balance. Okay. And what is reacted and unreacted? See, there is a parameter called conversion. Can be denoted by the letter capital X. Okay. And what is conversion? See, conversion, if I talk about component A, so I can say conversion of A means, you should know, conversion signifies the fractional amount of A reacted. If I say XA, if it is B, fractional amount of B reacted. Okay, it will never represent the amount. It represents the fractional amount. So that should be clear to all of you. So fractional amount of A reacted. Fractional amount of A reacted. And fractional amount of A reacted, you can also say, fraction is what? Amount over total. So fractional amount of A reacted means moles of A reacted divided by total moles of A, or you can say moles of A fed. Okay, so this is the meaning of conversion, moles of A reacted upon moles of A fed, or you can also write it as moles of A reacted is equal to, moles of A reacted will be equal to moles of A fed minus moles of A remaining. Okay, so that's how we can define the conversion. And when we use these values here in these equations, you will get the mathematical results, some mathematical mole balance values. So moles of B reacted can be represented as moles of B fed minus moles of B out. That means NB naught minus NB is equal to B by A times of moles of A reacted. So from here you can say moles of A reacted is equal to fed into XA. Suppose we are sending Na naught moles of A. Na naught moles of A. So it will be Na naught into XA. Okay, so you will get NB is equal to NB naught minus B over A times of Na naught into XA. Similarly, you will get NC is equal to NC naught plus C over A times of Na naught into XA. And you can write similarly for component D. Okay. One more thing, if you want to relate conversion of A and conversion of B, so from here you can write moles of B reacted means NB naught into XB. Similarly, I will define XB, moles of B reacted upon moles of B fed. That is equal to B by A times of moles of A reacted. Simple. Okay, so you can memorize these equations, or otherwise after some practice you will know all these equations, otherwise you can derive them easily within no time. Okay, hardly it will take your 15 seconds to get to these equations, final equations. These are the mole balance equations for the chemical reaction. AA plus BB gives CC plus GD. So if someone asks you what is the conversion of C or what is the conversion of D, so you should be clear in your mind that conversion is defined only for the reactants, because they are getting reactant. They are getting reacted. Okay, but it never defines for the product, because products are getting formed, they are not reacting, they are not consuming in the reaction. Okay, so XC and XD cannot be defined since they are the product for this reaction. Okay, it may happen in somewhere that C is the reactant, so in that case we can define. Anyways, so conversion can be defined for the reactants and reactants only, not for the products. Now here one more thing you should know. If you see this equation, okay, if you see this equation, moles of B reacted equal to NB naught minus NB. NB naught minus NB I can write as minus of DNB. I can write it like that. Similarly, here I was having moles of A reacted. Moles of A reacted means moles of A fed minus out, or I can also write it as minus of DNA. Okay, doesn't matter. If you divide this by VDT on both sides, VDT. So minus DNB upon VDT is what? Minus RB. That is equal to BYA times of minus RA. So that's how you can get the moles relative rates. Okay, that is minus RA upon A equal to minus RB upon B is equal to RC upon C is equal to RD upon D. And this is called the relative rates of the reaction. Okay, where minus RA means rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of A, rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of B, RC rate of reaction in terms of formation of C, rate of reaction in terms of formation of D. Okay, and what is rate of reaction? See, if I am talking about the rate of reaction, for example, all of us are sitting in a train, and if I say speed of the train, then speed of the train will be same for all of us, as all of us are inside the train. Okay, if train is running at a speed of 100 miles per hour, for me it is 100 miles per hour, for you it is also 100 miles per hour, for any person C it is also 100 miles per hour. Okay, so similarly for here I am talking about rate of reaction. So rate of reaction should be same for all the components, either they are reactants or products. So listen carefully, minus RA, RB, RC, RD, these are not the rate of reaction. These are the rate of reaction in terms of components. If I am talking about the rate of reaction, so that is always defined as Ri upon nu I. Ri upon nu I. If reactants are there, component I represents the reactant, then nu I must be negative, and so this Ri has to be a negative value. In that case you can also write it as Ri upon mode of nu I, because we know that for reactants rate of reaction denoted by minus Ri minus Ra, like that, and for products it is plus Ra plus Rb plus Rc, like that. So you should be clear in your mind that this minus Ra upon A, minus Rb upon B, Rc upon C, Rd upon D is the rate of reaction. Minus Ra itself is not the rate of reaction. Minus Ra upon A is the rate of reaction, and that is same for all the components. Okay, for better understanding you can see how, if I talk about ammonia synthesis, at any point during the reaction, if I say 7 moles of nitrogen reacted per second, then the logic is 7 mole nitrogen reacted per second with 21 moles of hydrogen per second, and they will form 14 moles of ammonia per second. Okay, if you see minus Ra, minus Rb, Rc, these are different. Okay, so they may or may not be same depending on the stoichiometric coefficient and the reaction equation. But if I divide all these things by their respective values, like divide this by volume as well. Okay, suppose the volume of the entire mixture is 1 meter cube. So you will divide this by 1. Now again, minus Ra, minus Rb, Rc. You can understand like this as well. So these are the different values. Minus Ra, minus Rb plus Rc. So what we can do, if we divide them by their stoichiometric coefficient, okay, if we divide them by their stoichiometric coefficient, that is 1 for nitrogen, 3 for hydrogen, 2 for ammonia. Now all these values will be same. 7 mole nitrogen reacting per meter cube per second. 21 upon 3, 7 mole hydrogen getting reacted per meter cube per second. 14 by 2, 7 mole ammonia is getting formed per meter cube per second. So this is the rate of reaction, which has to be same for all the components. So these things should be clear in your mind. Okay. Present it is already NB naught minus B upon A Na naught x. सही लिखा है. Anyways, so I hope this rate of reaction concept is clear to all of you. What is relative rates? What is the meaning of minus R? What is the meaning of Ri? And what is the meaning of R? That should be clear to all of you. Okay. And what is the use of all this information? See, suppose there is a question. Okay, that there is a reaction 2A plus 3B gives 4C. Okay, and they said that R is equal to KCA. R is equal to KCA. So what is minus Ra? What is minus Rb? And what is plus Rc? If they ask you. So you can simply say that minus Ra upon A is equal to R. So it means minus Ra is equal to A into R. That will be A into KCA. Similarly, R minus Rb will be B into KCA. Rc will be C into KCA. Like this. That's how we can find out minus Ra, minus Rb and Rc. Okay, for any given reaction. And similarly, suppose for any reaction like 3A plus 4B gives 5C, minus Ra is equal to 6Ca square. If it is given like this, okay, if it is given like this, then what is minus Rb? So you can simply say that minus Rb upon B is equal to minus Ra upon A, or minus Rb is equal to B by A times of minus Ra. Okay, so you can say B by A times of 6Ca square. Whatever the values you can write. Similarly, Rc will become C by A times of minus Ra, that is 6Ca square. So that's how we can write down the rate of reaction in terms of other components. If we know the rate of reaction, we can get the rate of reaction of individual components. If we know the rate of reaction of one component, we can get the rate of reaction of all other components. And here in this case, what will be the R? What will be the rate of reaction? This is minus Ra. So what will be the R? R will be equal to minus Ra upon A. That is 6Ca square upon A. Whatever the value is. Okay. So that's how we get the rate of reactions in terms of individual components. Okay. So I hope all these things are clear, and now you can write down the rate of reaction. You can find out the rate of reaction for any system. Okay. Let's move further. Let's do one simple question here. Whatever we have discussed. Suppose it is given that for the ammonia synthesis reaction, (156 gram ammonia is formed in 10 minutes. So calculate the rate of disappearance of hydrogen in gram per minute and gram per hour. Okay. So we know that ammonia synthesis is N2 plus 3H2 gives 2NH3. So you have to find out the rates in different terms. Okay, so let's take 1 minute to solve this. So here, if we write the rate of reactions, relative rates of reaction, we can write it like minus Rn2 upon 1 equal to minus RH2 upon 3 is equal to RNH3 upon 2. Okay, it is given that 156 gram ammonia is formed in 10 minutes. So RNH3 is 156 gram ammonia per unit time, that is 10 minutes. No, this is incorrect. Okay, why? Because this relation will be valid only when all these values are in their molar units. Okay, so we have to change this gram per minute into molar units. Only then this will be correct. Okay, only then I can say this value is equal to RNH3. Okay, so what is the molecular weight of ammonia? I hope all of you know that. That is 17. Okay, so it will be. So what is RNH3? RNH3 will be equal to this 156 upon 170 mole per minute. Okay, since volume of the reaction mixture will be same for all the components, so you can write that in terms of mole per second, mole per minute as well, or mole per meter cube per second as well, doesn't matter. Okay, so we have RNH3, now we can calculate RH2. So minus RH2 will be equal to what? You can see 3 upon 2 times of this, 3 upon 2 times of RNH3, that is 3 upon 2 times of this value, 156 upon 170 mole per minute. So whatever the value you are getting, you can calculate this, you will get your answer. Okay, like here if I say this has to be 1.3765 mole per minute. But I need to give my answer in gram per minute. So obviously I have to change this mole into gram. Now I can't use this molar weight. This is the rate of hydrogen. So I have to use the molar weight of hydrogen. and we know that for hydrogen molecular weight is 2 gram by gram mole. Okay, so this value will become 2.753 gram per minute. This is the answer. Similarly, if you want to change this into gram per hour, you know that you have to change minutes into hours. So that will 165.18 gram per hour. Simple. Okay, so that's how we can use this relation, relative rates of reaction, to solve the numericals. And this type of question can be asked in the exam for 1 mark. Okay, anyways, so I hope all this part is clear to all of you, and you can also solve this. Now further, if I talk about the homogeneous reaction system, so homogeneous reaction system one thing should be clear to all of you, that rate of reaction in homogeneous reaction system depends on only 2 parameters. One is temperature and second is concentration. Okay. In some books or maybe some other literature, they also write pressure, but pressure is only for gaseous reaction. Okay, means if the homogeneous mixture exists in gaseous phase, then pressure you can also include, but doesn't matter, because we know that for gaseous mixture, concentration itself contains pressure. Okay, so it's your choice whether you want to represent pressure separately or you want to indicate that into concentration itself. Okay, for liquids, pressure has no effect, as all of us assume that all liquids are incompressible. Okay, anyways, so if you want to write down that mathematically, you can say R is the function of temperature and concentration. Okay, so there are various theories, but the most suitable theory is power law, and according to power law, we can write this mathematical function as R is equal to K product summation Ci power alpha I, from I is equal to 1 to n. Okay, whatever number of components are there. K is the reaction rate constant. Ci is concentration of reactants only. Alpha I is the apparent order of I. Okay, in RDS, or you can say simply order of I, doesn't matter. Okay, and what is alpha I? According to power law, the value of alpha I will be equal to its stoichiometric coefficient in RDS, that is rate determining step. Okay, what is rate determining step? See, every reaction may take place in multiple steps. Okay, if we are saying that reaction is 2A gives B, this is the reaction. So it is looking like 2A gives B, but it may happen that this reaction is taking place in more than one step. Something like A gives C star, and further that C star reacts with A to give B. So if you add them, you will get overall reaction like this, 2A gives B. Okay, so out of these 2 steps, or whatever is number of steps are there, the slowest step is known as rate determining step. Okay, because according to power law, we can write down this rate of reaction in this form only for the slowest step. Why? Because slowest step will control the process. Okay, how? Because slowest step will provide the highest resistance. Okay, I hope you know that rate is, in normal chemical engineering, we know that rate is equal to flux upon area, and flux can be defined as driving force over resistance. So ultimately rate is inversely proportional to resistance. If resistance is high, rate is low. If resistance is low, rate is high. So slowest step means which the resistance will be high. And if rate is high, so obviously time has to be more. The slowest process. We know that rate is what? Change in any scalar quantity per unit time. That's how we define the rate in general chemical engineering. So rate of reaction means change in number of moles per unit. Okay. So if reaction is slow, that means time will be more. So rate has to be low. And if rate is low, then resistance will be high. Okay. So it's simple to understand all these things. So, and in RDS, like if I say for this reaction, I want to write down the rate of reaction like this according to power law. So I can write R is equal to rate constant K, and you can see there are two reactants, 1, 2. So it will be Cc star power alpha, Ca power beta, their apparent orders. But here we know that according to power law, their apparent order is always same as their stoichiometric coefficient in RDS. So in this RDS, if you see, alpha is equal to 1 and beta is also equal to 1. So R will become K Cc star into Ca. So this is the rate of reaction for this reaction. 2A gives B. So for 2A gives B, what is the rate of reaction? This K Cc star and Ca star. Okay, and remember this alpha I. So summation of alpha I is known as overall order of reaction. Okay, I am not going to discuss what is order of reaction, what is molecularity, all that basic things. I hope all of you know that. Okay, so that's not a big deal. Overall order is for entire reaction and apparent order is based on individual components. So I will say apparent order of C star is 1, apparent order of A is 1, and overall order will be 1 plus 2. Okay, so this is the rate of reaction. Okay, that's how we can write down the rate of reaction in terms of power law, using power law. And you should know that according to power law, the relation, the mathematical relation between rate of reaction, rate constant K, and concentration is called rate law, or also known as rate equation. Okay, this is the rate equation which I was talking about, that you must know how to write down the rate equation for any reaction. Okay, so this is the power law. Okay, I hope it is clear to all of you. And now let's see how can we write the rate equation for any given reaction. Okay, so suppose we have a chemical reaction like P plus Q plus R plus S gives P, or anything. Okay, so what will be the rate of reaction? Simple. Rate of reaction R will be equal to rate constant K, product summation of Ci power alpha I. So concentration of P, Q, R, S, as all these four components are the reactants. So concentration of P power alpha, concentration of Q power beta, concentration of R power gamma, and concentration of S power delta, and like this. So that's how we will write down the rate equation. And what is alpha, beta, gamma, delta? You cannot say alpha is equal to 1, beta is equal to 1, same as their stoichiometric coefficient. Why? Because this is the overall reaction. And I don't know what is the reaction mechanism. Okay, so that's why I cannot write down these values. But I can write down the rate equation in such form. Okay, because alpha, beta, gamma is same as this or not, I don't know. That depends on the reaction mechanism. Okay, if you know the RDS, then you can directly say like this: alpha, beta, gamma delta is 1. If this is the RDS, you will say alpha, beta, gamma delta is 1. If this is just a reaction, then we will write like this. And there are methods to calculate the values of these apparent orders that we will see later on. Okay, how to calculate the overall order and apparent order for any reaction. So that's how we write down the rate equation. Suppose any reaction is like A plus 2A plus B gives C or something. Okay. So what will be the rate of reaction? Rate of reaction will be K, Ca alpha, Cb beta. And I will not say alpha is equal to 2, beta is equal to 1 because I don't know whether it is RDS or not. This is just a reaction. So that's how we can write down the rate of reaction for any system. And here alpha plus beta will be equal to N, the overall. So I hope this part is clear to all of you, and you can write down the rate equation for any given chemical reaction. Now one more interesting thing about this rate equation is you should know. Suppose I have a reaction A plus B gives C plus D. And R is equal to K Ca Cb, suppose. Or let's say Ca Cb square. So like this. This is the R given. Okay. So if someone asks you what is minus Ra, what is minus Rb, then you can simply say this is K Ca Cb square. This is also K Ca Cb square based on the relative rates. You can also write Rc equal to K Ca Cb square and Rd is equal to K Ca Cb square. That's not a big deal. You can write down. But as per the relative rates, okay? But if they ask you, bro, what all the I don't need all these things. Tell me what is plus Ra and minus Rc. Okay. Then what will you say? See, it's very simple. Understand, if reaction is like A gives B, okay, and if the rate is given like 7 moles of A reacted per unit time, okay, so what if I talk about the reverse of this, okay, A gives B, if I talk about the reverse of this, like B gives A, so what will be the data? If 7 moles of A reacted per unit time, so now I can say since A will become product, so I will say 7 moles of A are getting formed per unit time at the same conditions. Okay, so rate of disappearance is equal to, remember, rate of disappearance of component I is equal to minus of rate of formation of component I. Okay, and according to power law, this term in rate equation R K C C B, in rate equation this term on the right side represents disappearance, reactant and formation of product. Okay, so I was talking about minus Ra, means I was talking about rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of A. A is the reactant itself, and this is also represents the disappearance of reactant, so that's why I used it as it is. I was talking about the rate of reaction in terms of formation of C. C is the product, and this is also representing the formation of product, so I will say as it is K Ca Cb square. But now if they are asking minus Rc means rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of C. What is C? C is the product, but they are talking about the disappearance of C, and this represents the formation of product. and I am interested in disappearance of product. So what will I write? I will write minus of KCACB square. As KCACB square is the rate of formation of C. So minus of this will become rate of disappearance of C. Similarly, it will plus RA will be KCACB square and it minus rate of disappearance of C, rate of disappearance of A minus of that will become rate of formation of A. Okay, so that's how we write down the rate equations. So it should be clear to all of you. Okay, I hope all these things are clear, and that's not a big deal for to write down the rate equation now, and you can write down all these things. So how to write down the rate equation? See, simple. Suppose I have a reaction A plus B gives C plus D and B plus C gives E plus F. This is some reaction. For this reaction, rate constant is K1, here this is K2. Okay, and let's say this is the RDS. Both of these are the RDS for any reaction system. Both of these are the RDS. Okay, suppose. Or I should not use this term because RDS can only be one step. So I should say, suppose according to power law, we know that the apparent order for all the component is 1. Apparent order is 1 for all the components. Okay, for all the components. Let's see. Okay. So can you tell me what is minus RA, minus RB, plus RC, plus RE, and plus RF? So let's talk about minus RA. I am interested in rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of A. What is A? A is the reactant, and you can see A is participating only in one step. So it will be K1 product summation of concentration of reactants. So here we have two reactants A and B. So it will be Ca power 1, Cb power 1. So this is minus R. Now if I say minus Rb, that is rate of reaction in terms of disappearance of B. So you can see that B is participating in 2 steps. So whenever a component is participating in 2 steps, so we write down the rate equation in addition. Okay, like in first step B is the reactant itself, and I am also talking about the disappearance of B. So it will be K1 Ca Cb. No problem, that is all absolutely fine. But in second step, you can see B is also a reactant in second step as well. Okay, so it will be K plus K2 concentration of reactants, because I am talking about disappearance of B. B is the reactant. So K1 CaCb plus K2 CbCc. Now, if I talk about RC, then C is the product which is participating in first step as a product, and I am also talking about the formation of C. So it will be K1 concentration of reactants. What are the reactants? A and B. But C is also participating in second step. So obviously when it is participating in other steps, so we will add all those values. So now if you see, oh, here C is participating as a reactant, but I am talking about the formation of C, but this is reactant. What is happening? Disappearance of C is happening. So what will I write? I will write minus of K2 CbCc. So it will become K1 Ca Cb minus K2 CbCc. Simple. Okay. And similarly you can write Rd. Rd will be equal to minus Ra here. Okay. And Re and Rf will be equal to K2 Cc Cb or CbCc, whatever you want to write, you can write. So that's how we can write the rate equation for any reaction. Okay. I hope this point is clear to you. What is the meaning of plus, minus, and how to write down the rate equation, because that is the most important thing. If we know how to write rate equation, we can do anything. Okay, because everything else is easy, simple mathematics. So guys, now let's move. Now we will talk about the mathematical aspect of the kinetic equations. Okay. So this was the important thing to do. That's why we have spent more time in this. Okay. Now let's move to the next part and talk about the kinetic equation. So homogeneous reaction system can be classified into two categories further. First is CVRS, second is VVRS. CVRS means constant volume reaction system, VVRS means variable volume reaction system. The meaning is constant volume reaction system is the one where volume of reaction mixture remains unchanged with the reaction time, or you can say reaction progression. Means V is independent of XA and T, whatever you want to say. So in that case we can see that volume of reaction mixture at any time T will be same as its initial volume. But variable volume reaction system is the one where volume of reaction mixture varies, changes with reaction progression, or you can say reaction time. Means V is the function of conversion, that is reaction progression, or you can say reaction time. Whatever you want to say, you can say that. Doesn't matter. Okay. So here, what is V? V will not be same as V naught. Okay. So what will be that? So that will be equal to V is equal to V naught 1 plus epsilon A XA. I am writing directly because I will not go in those details. Derivation and all that stuff. For that you can watch the lectures. And here we can see that, we can say that volume of reaction mixture is the linear function of conversion, or it changes linearly with conversion. Okay, and what is epsilon A? Epsilon A is called expansion factor. Okay, and for any chemical reaction, you can calculate epsilon A. For any chemical reaction you can calculate epsilon A like delta into Ya naught. And what is delta? Delta is the overall stoichiometric coefficient over A. If you want to calculate epsilon B, then it will be delta into Yb naught. And in that case delta will be overall stoichiometric coefficient over B. Okay, so it should be clear to you. And remember one more thing, as XA is defined only for reactants, volume expansion factor is also defined only for reactants, not for the products. Okay. So for any chemical reaction, overall stoichiometric coefficient can be negative, positive, or zero. So similarly here you should know that at constant temperature and pressure, if I say at constant temperature and pressure, V will be equal to V naught 1 plus epsilon A XA. This will be the equation. Okay, if temperature pressure is constant, then you can see that if overall stoichiometric coefficient is positive, then epsilon A will be positive as well. And if epsilon A is positive, then you can see V will be greater than V naught. Okay. Similarly, if overall stoichiometric coefficient is negative, then epsilon A will be negative and thus V will be less than V naught. Okay. And third, if overall stoichiometric coefficient is 0, that means epsilon A will be 0. Thus, we can say V is equal to V naught. Okay. And you can understand this concept easily from a graph. If I draw a graph between V versus XA, and let's say this is V naught, this is positive y, negative y. So, at when epsilon overall stoichiometric coefficient is 0, V is equal to V naught. So, even if conversion increases, V will remain same. V will remain same, you can see from that curve. And what will be the slope between V versus XA curve? In this case, you can see slope will be 0. Because the slope of horizontal line is 0. If this is positive, then V is greater than V naught. So you can see V is increasing linearly. Okay, and in this case, slope will be positive. And if nu is less than 0, then epsilon A is negative. So V will decrease linearly. And in that case, you can see epsilon A will be less than 0. Okay, so here, these two cases comes in the category of VVRS and this comes in the category of CVRS. Okay, and remember one thing here, that all liquid phase and aqueous phase reactions comes in the category of constant volume reaction system. Because we assume that liquid is independent of pressure, incompressible. Okay, and for gas phase and vapor phase reactions, we have to check for epsilon A. Epsilon A. Okay, if epsilon A is negative or positive, then it will be VVRS, and if epsilon A is 0, that will be CVRS. Simple. Okay, that's how we can identify the given reaction. Okay, and remember in the exam, if a problem statement is given, but they haven't mentioned the phase, then we will consider that as CVRS only. Okay, we will consider VVRS only and only when this is gaseous phase or vapor phase reaction. Plus, their epsilon A is non-zero. Okay, then we will say that is VVRS. Otherwise, CVRS always. Okay, so that's how we can do the calculations. And for any chemical reaction, you can calculate epsilon A by using this relation, delta into Ya naught. What is Ya naught? Ya naught is the mole fraction of reactant A in the feed. Okay, if feed is pure A, if they say that we have pure feed, so obviously Ya naught will be 1. If they haven't mentioned anything about the composition, still we will consider Ya naught as 1. Okay, otherwise we will calculate that. Okay, like if they say equimolar feed of A and B, so obviously Ya naught will be 0.5. If they say 70% A, 30% inert, Ya naught is 0.7, like that. So I hope all these things are okay, and we are not going to in those details. So that is all about the basics. Okay, and now what is the effect of this thing? So that we will discuss in the next part of the class. So let's have a quick break of 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. Then we will continue the class after that, and we will discuss all those things, how to utilize, how to use all the data, whatever we have discussed till now, and implement that to solve the numericals. Okay. So see you guys. Let's have a break of 15 minutes, then we will be back.